Well, good afternoon, East Alabama and West Georgia. Welcome to your Saturday afternoon. It's the 4th of July 3.0, and we have some strong thunderstorms across East Alabama to talk about this afternoon. It is 1:02 p.m. Central on your Saturday, July 6, 2024, and I'm Dr. Don. Good afternoon to you once again, and let's take a look at what's happening out there on radar. We have some big thunderstorms rolling across portions of East Alabama, particularly in Clay County and Randolph over into Hurd, and moving up into southern Carroll County, also across portions of Cleburne County. And the National Weather Service has issued a special weather statement. This is going to be for Clay County, and I'll read that to you. A strong thunderstorm will impact northern Tallapoosa and southern south central Clay County through about 1:30 this afternoon. Doppler radar is tracking a strong thunderstorm 7 miles west of Goldville or 8 miles east of Goodwater, moving southeast at 10 miles per hour. Not sure I agree with their direction of travel here, and I'll show you why in just a few moments. Now, the hazard with this is up to 40 mile per hour winds, and this is radar indicated. Understand that a lot of the weather messages that are sent out are done so automatically or via artificial intelligence. And you'll see there, I mean, you put it in motion, you rock it back and forth, it's clear this line of thunderstorms really isn't moving that much at all. And if there is any movement to it, it's northeast. I don't think it's southeast. It may be building southeast, but the overall motion on this really kind of looks like, to me, it's rocking toward the east-northeast, maybe with a building component to the south or southeast. And so I'm trying to clarify that, because this stuff is going to hang out across southern Clay and across central and south central Randolph and over in Hurd County for quite some time. It's just not moving. It's not going anywhere very quickly. And you'll see right here, the National Weather Service over in Peachtree City has just issued a special weather statement for this portion of the storm that is in Hurd County. And they have the initial motion on this northeast at 12 miles per hour. So I'm going to have to go with Peachtree City on this one. I think they have it, they have it correct. And let me just kind of read the verbiage on the one for Hurd County. A strong thunderstorm will impact portions of northwestern Hurd County through 2:30 this afternoon. At 2:02 p.m., a strong thunderstorm was located near Falonia or near Franklin, moving to the northeast at 10 miles per hour. The hazard with this storm is up to 40 mile per hour winds, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning, and heavy rainfall. So there you go. You put the radar in motion. It's pretty clear that the little bit of movement we have going on is northeast. So you folks down in Alexander City, could this storm back build down into the Alex City area? Yeah, it could. But this line is really moving east-northeast this afternoon. So that's what we're looking at. Let me take the radar full screen, and then I'm going to zoom out so you can see the overall picture across Alabama and Georgia. For those of you up here in northeast Georgia, yep, not a nothing. We can't buy a drop of rain up here. I know we had a little bit yesterday, but it left about as soon as it came in, and we really didn't get any decent rain up here yesterday. Big fireworks show coming up tonight in Cleveland, Georgia. And right now there's nothing threatening that up here in northeast Georgia. Back down across central Alabama, east Alabama, west central Georgia, it's pretty much the same areas that saw rain yesterday there along and south of I-20. And I think eventually it's going to fill in all the way down to the I-85 corridor. Now, having said all of this entire area, though the individual storms are moving northeast, this entire area is along a front that's trying to slip to the southeast, so this entire complex may slowly work southeast while the individual storms run off to the northeast. Nothing severe I know that it looks rough outside. If you're under some of this red, it is absolutely pouring. So you've got tremendous rain out there. You've got some gusty winds. There could even be some small hail in some of this, but we're below severe limits. Understand you got to have 58-mile-per-hour wind gust or hail 1 inch in diameter or larger to qualify a thunderstorm to be severe. So we are below that. So no severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornadic activity, nothing like that. Just a lot of thunderstorms out there with heavy rainfall, and you got some pretty good lightning taking place in some of these storms as well. Lake Wedowee, that's a no-go. You don't need to be on the water on Lake Wedowee. Down here at Wind Creek State Park, Lake Martin, you're okay for the moment. That could change in a little while. If you're over here on West Point Lake, you're okay for the moment. Again, that could change in the next hour or so, but most definitely a no-go for Lake Wedowee. The Tallapoosa River is just too dangerous out there, folks. Way too much lightning. If you're anywhere around Lake Wedowee, you need to be headed to a place of safety. Stay indoors. A lot of lightning showing up over there on the eastern side of Randolph also, right along the Heard County, Randolph County line, just north of Weehadkee, north of Waresville, Adamson, Ridgeway. That would be just west of Franklin. That's a big thunderstorm that's taking place there from High Shoals up to Potash, back over toward Franklin. And then looking at the rest of the activity in Randolph, you got storms between Newell and Woodland, down around the Ava community, just west of Wedowee. Look at Lake Wedowee. My goodness, that's a lot of rain coming down. And that stretches from Highway 48 all the way down to the Corinth community. You got very heavy rainfall on the west side of Randolph County, stretching back into Clay. Highway 49, 77 down to Wadley, a complete washout at the moment. Heavy rain in Gibsonville, Bluff Springs, and that trails on off down into the northern parts or northwestern portions of Tallapoosa County, around Goldville. Goodwater, you've got heavy rain out there on Highway 280 just north of Kellyton. And then Sylacauga, very heavy rainfall now just south of downtown Sylacauga, stretching back down to around Stewartville on Highway 231. So lots of very heavy rainfall. Understand that this afternoon, some of these storms could dump, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches per hour, and they're not moving very fast. So you're going to get a tremendous amount of rainfall. You could have some localized flash flooding with some of these storms. At the moment, the most dangerous component to all of this is going to be the heavy rainfall and the dangerous lightning that's taking place out there this afternoon. Let's see if we have any questions over in the chat room. We're not going to do wall-to-wall coverage here because we don't have any life-threatening weather taking place. As long as you use common sense, if you get out there in the middle of what's going on out there, it could be life-threatening, but as long as you're indoors and safe, you're going to be okay from this. Let's see what's going on out here. We've got lots of folks in the room. There's Deborah watching from Wedowee, Sharon asking if Alexander City is going to get any of this. This is north of you right now. It could slowly move southeast while the individual storms move to the northeast. So, yeah, it's possible you could see some stuff in Alex City after a while. Amanda's watching from Ashland, Lineville. Mary watching from Roanoke. There's Rick from Falonia. Richie is watching in the Alma Malone area. Kim watching from LaGrange. Yeah, so I don't really see any questions. Terry out of Eclectic in Wedowee at Jake Haynes Road. So Terry's watching us. She's from out of Electric. Okay, so the power's out. I think that's what she's trying to say. Terry's trying to say the power's out. Let's see. Bowden is in the house. There's Joni. Thank you for joining us, Joni. Dakota's watching from Randolph County, Corinth community. Thank you, Dakota. Columbus. I don't think there's anything happening in Columbus at the moment. No. A lot of big storms down there last night, but at the moment, you're okay in the Columbus area. Closest rain you got some stuff over around Montezuma, and then Buena Vista, which is to the southeast of Columbus. But right now, nothing happening in Columbus. Thank you, Angie. Randy in Rock Mills. Noonan, Georgia. Hey, Don. I like your name. Noonan. Old Noonan. Y'all look gun shy over there, and I don't blame you. Y'all have had your fair share of severe weather in Noonan over the last couple of years. All right, so we bring the radar current. Again, I want you to look at the motion on this stuff. Individual storms are lifting to the east-northeast. I don't really see. I mean, this cluster that's moving into Heard County, if it continues the direction it's going in right now. Let me get the telestrator warmed up here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if it continues moving in the direction it's moving in right now, you're probably looking at that Noonan convection probably moving, just north of Noonan. It's going to be a close call. But the other thing you don't know between now and then, this is a slow mover. It's going to take probably an hour for it to even get over there. And what we don't know is, does this build further south as it moves northeast? And the entire complex may be sinking to the southeast as the individual storms run to the northeast. That all will play a huge factor as to whether or not Noonan gets any of this. You may also have storms that fire right on top of you as well. I mean, the atmosphere is certainly conducive for that this afternoon. Noonan, I think you're probably going to see some thunder and lightning before this is over with. I just don't see anything in the immediate area at the moment. Oh, Marcia, I see you in there. I see you, office chief. There's Kim over in Wadley, Alabama, the Corinth community, County Road 43, says it's dark over there. Yeah, the storm's sitting just north of you, Kim. But it's headed your way. It's stretching all the way down to Daviston, and as it moves to the east-northeast, it will certainly move into the Corinth community. There you are right there. And here's the storm. So it's about to move in there. It's going to be heavy rainfall. Don't see a tremendous amount of lightning right there around the Corinth area. But certainly some very, very heavy rainfall. Again, if you're just joining us, we have a couple of special weather statements that have been issued by both Alabama and Georgia dealing with a line of thunderstorms moving into East Alabama this afternoon. Nothing severe. We have no severe weather warnings or watches. We have no tornadic weather, nothing like that. These are just strong summertime thunderstorms that are developing just out ahead of a frontal zone that's trying to sink through East Alabama and West Georgia this afternoon. That frontal zone will push down to somewhere around I-85, maybe a little further south, and then it's going to stall. And then tomorrow it will back up. And if you're within, 30, 40, 50 miles either side of that frontal boundary, that's where the best chances of rain will be today and again tomorrow. And we see that happening now. You'll look right there on the screen. I know it's kind of hard to see, but you see that pinkish purple line from about Rome, Georgia, down to just south of Birmingham. You see that L right there. That's the frontal boundary, and it is slowly pushing to the southeast, while the individual storms are running to the northeast along this line. So overall, it will push to the southeast in time. So you folks down in Chambers, Tallapoosa, and even down into Lee County, and then over in Georgia, our Troup County folks, Harris County, even down into the Columbus area, I think you will see rain before the day's over with. Up here in northeast Georgia, well, it just, it ain't happening. It's just not, for some reason, we cannot buy a decent raindrop up here in northeast Georgia. Let me switch to Atlanta, but it's not going to show anything because there's nothing here. We'll look at the North Georgia mountains here right quick. We had a few storms around yesterday, but at least in my house anyway. I think I could have counted the raindrops we received. I know Cleveland got a good bit more, but out here on the mountain, we just didn't get anything. Yeah, there's nothing happening up in northeast Georgia. I was looking to see if we had anything forming along this line. Let me throw the visibility radar back on to see. We do have some clouds. That's good. And, you can't have rain without clouds. So at least we do have some cloud coverage up here, and maybe we can squeeze out a raindrop before the day's over with. But it's not looking good. It's clear with the visible satellite on. You can see where the bright clouds are. That's where the storms are taking place this afternoon. Hogansville in the house. Hey, Sherry. Jennifer's asking a very good question. Thank you for asking that question, Jennifer. She says, do you think we'll see any rain next week from the hurricane? I think there's a very good possibility we will. Of course, it won't be a hurricane by that time. Beryl will be nothing much more than a depression, even if that, by the time it gets up into Mississippi, Louisiana, and eventually Tennessee. Let me switch over to our tropical side of things, and we'll just discuss that right quick while we're looking at those heavy storms across central Alabama. There is Beryl at this hour. That was the position as of 7 a.m. this morning. Maximum sustained winds were at 58 miles per hour. Movement was northwest at around 14 miles per hour. Tropical storm. It is expected to go back to hurricane status before making landfall somewhere north of Corpus Christi, maybe south of Galveston, and that would likely be sometime tomorrow evening or early Monday morning. We would be looking at landfall somewhere in this general vicinity, which is a good bit further north than originally anticipated. And that's been the trend with this hurricane. Just about every single update we received from the National Hurricane Center, we have seen a push to the north or northeast with the expected track. Now, I have turned on, you can see that cone of uncertainty, meaning that this storm system could track anywhere within those two white lines. So if it stays tracking to the north of the center, then really anywhere from Houston or Galveston all the way back down to the Texas-Mexico border is in play. Then as we go out in time, you see that cone widens out because those are the areas where the storm could track. Right now we think it's going to track across East Texas up into southwest Arkansas to a point just west of Memphis. And that's going to keep Alabama and Georgia on the dirty side of the storm, or to the right of the storm. That's where all the rain, thunderstorms would take place. Now, there are a lot of questions remaining. I think it certainly increases the moisture content in the atmosphere across Alabama and Georgia. No questions there. But we've got to really see how big a storm Beryl is when it makes landfall. Does it stay at Category 1 or does it get higher? I mean, there's a chance it could go to Category 2. We got to see what the speed is when it punches inland. If it's moving at 20, 25 miles per hour, then that would mean that it could turn inland much further and stay stronger. If it's less than a Category 1, it's a very slow-moving storm, which right now is kind of the prediction, then it's not going to be much left of the storm by the time it gets close enough to affect the weather in Alabama and Georgia. I think at the very least it does increase our rain chances for Monday, Tuesday, and potentially into Wednesday. It will be dragging those storms up off the Gulf of Mexico, and it'll be increasing the moisture levels across Alabama and Georgia. So I think there will be a good chance we will see some beneficial rainfall from this, and I hope that's all we get. There is an outside chance that, at least in the heat of the afternoon on Monday and Tuesday, we could be looking at some strong to potentially severe storms in some of those outer feeder bands if they hold together after Beryl makes landfall and moves on inland up in Texas and Arkansas. We'll just have to see. Can Beryl still tap into the Gulf moisture that far inland? It just depends on how well the frame structure of the storm is when it makes it that far inland. So a lot of questions out there about how Beryl will affect the weather across Alabama and Georgia. One thing is absolutely certain because it's already happening. The riptide currents across the northern Gulf Coast, and I'm talking about from Tampa, Florida, all the way back down to the Texas coast. That includes the Louisiana coast, Mississippi coast, Alabama, and Florida coast. Riptide currents are off the chain. Extremely dangerous. You got double reds flying everywhere down there. Don't go in the water. Very dangerous down there with the riptide currents right now. And then I think there's a decent chance we do get some significant rainfall out of this. And then potentially we could be looking at some strong thunderstorms from Beryl as well. So I hope that answered your hurricane or tropical storm Beryl questions, probably going back to hurricane status before landfall. Hey, Mary. Hey, Mike. Chambers County, right now you're good, but I think in time you'll see showers and thunderstorms across Tallapoosa, Chambers as well, and also back over toward Troop. We just got that last volume scan. We got one trying to develop down here in southern Troop, and that's going to be in the vicinity of the West Point Dam or the Kia Motors facility out there between 85 and I-185, and that will probably expand pretty quickly. And you could see that really happen anywhere in Chambers, Tallapoosa, and over into Troop. We could see these individual storms pop up. The storms to your north up in Hurd, Randolph, Clay, northern Tallapoosa, back into Coosa, these storms are moving northeast, but the entire complex is slowly sinking to the southeast. And that trend should continue for the remainder of this afternoon. I'm going to switch back to Birmingham because that gives us a better view of what's taking place downstream. Again, none of these storms are severe. You got to have 58-mile-per-hour winds sustained or 1 inch or larger hailstones to classify a thunderstorm as severe. We have neither of those. The wind gust running 30 to 40 miles per hour. Any hail that may be occurring out there is going to be half-inch or smaller, so that would be small hail. No rotating thunderstorms, no severe weather taking place, though the lightning is pretty significant in some of these heavier pockets of rain, so respect the lightning. If you're out there today, you start hearing rumbles of thunder, the sky starts to darken, it's time to go indoors. Don't stay outside with this type of weather. Hey, Sharon, thank you. And Sharon Willis says that it's getting dark in Alexander City. Yeah, you got a cell that's sitting just northwest of you, out there on 280, up there at about Kellyton. And that is moving northeast. Let that loop all the way through. It's moving northeast, maybe a little bit of a southern build to it as it moves northeast. I think that stays pretty much north of Alexander City for now. I mean, it's going to be a close call, but I think the majority of that storm will stay north of Alexander City. But before the day's over with, you're going to get some. I mean, look at this stuff back over here in western Coosa. I mean, that is, we're talking frog strangler over there. From Stewartville to just west of Weguffka down to Clanton to the Enterprise community down to about Billingsley in Chilton County. That is very, very heavy rainfall. That's moving off to the east-northeast. So that line that's back over by Clanton will drag across Tallapoosa. It's going to take it a minute to get there, probably at least an hour, if not an hour and a half, before it makes it into Tallapoosa County. But you're going to get some. I mean, all of Coosa, Tallapoosa, and eventually Chambers, and probably Lee County is going to see some more as well. For the most of you, this is beneficial rain. I mean, you got to be careful with that lightning. And if you're out traveling, you need to be real careful if you run into one of these showers, because I'm telling you, it's going to be hard to drive in this stuff. This is where the column's almost 100% saturated, meaning that it's like standing under a fire hose. I mean, it's blinding. This is very, very heavy rainfall out there, and it's dangerous to drive in. Yeah, so Roanoke, you've got one sitting to your northeast right now that's pulling away from you, and got that heavy rain over southwest Randolph County that's going to continue working to the east. So you've got some rain to your west. This stuff that's just north of Alexander City will probably make it up into southern Clay, southern Randolph. So I think you'll get some of this convection as well. And then that line, again, that's stretching all the way back through Chilton County into extreme northern Autauga County, is eventually going to work across Clay, Randolph, Coosa, Tallapoosa, and Chambers as well. Big fireworks show in Pennon, Alabama. Now that's where everybody ought to be tonight. You need to be in Pennon for the fireworks show. You know it's going to be good. Julie, what, I guess you're doing the fireworks like at dark, 9 p.m.-ish. Let's see. Let me go back out. I mean, we got rain scattered all the way back into Mississippi, but this line that you see right here, that's a frontal zone. It's pushing southeast. It's very, very slowly moving. It's just creeping along. Once you get north of that, there's not a whole lot going on, and it will eventually clear Randolph and Chambers. I don't think it stalls out until it gets down to about Eufaula. Somewhere between Columbus and Eufaula is where I would expect this to stall out, and once you get on the backside of it, there's probably not going to be much going on. I can't say for certain that it's going to be all cleared out by dark, but I think there's a decent chance it could be. Valley, Alabama. Hey, Emily. Ricky, I would go for the same thing up here. I mean, it's ridiculously dry. You're welcome, Julie. So we still have that special weather statement for Heard County. This was issued by the National Weather Service out of Peachtree City. Strong thunderstorm continues to impact portions of Heard County, and that will continue through 3 p.m., so about another 29 minutes for that special weather statement. Heaviest rain right there just north of Franklin on 100 from Franklin all the way back up, excuse me, into Carroll County, up through Bowden, over toward Carrollton, really all the way up to I-20. From I-20 all the way to Franklin on 100 is a complete washout right now. And heavy rain stretches back into East Randolph. Real heavy rainfall now down Highway 48 from the Alabama-Georgia state line down to Woodland. And then just north of 48 all the way into Wedowee. 48 on the west side of the county from just south of Wildwood. Highway 431, a washout down to Wedowee. Lake Wedowee out there, Flat Rock Park. Lots of heavy rainfall occurring there. We do have lightning in the area. Nobody should be out there on that granite rock right now. You're still pretty safe out there on West Point and Lake Martin. Not much happening on either of those lakes right now. However, if you're on the north end of Lake Martin, start paying attention to what's to your north because it will eventually move into the Lake Martin area. If you're over here on West Point Lake, nothing in the immediate area, but just as the folks on Lake Martin need to pay attention, you need to also, because eventually this will fill in and move on to the southeast. And it will eventually be raining across both of the other two major lakes in the area. Another question about Beryl, and yeah, Brad, I just finished talking about that, but I'll summarize. Yes, I think there is a decent chance that Beryl will give us some rain Monday, Tuesday, and potentially into Wednesday of next week. Its closest approach to us is probably going to be through Arkansas, extreme northwest Mississippi, Memphis maybe. And as the storm curves and moves up into Arkansas and extreme western Tennessee or maybe southern Missouri, it will continue to pull moisture. It really depends on the frame of the storm, the condition the storm's in at that time. Of course, it won't be a hurricane or a tropical storm, but if it holds on to that depression status that far inland, then it will certainly continue to try to feed off of the Gulf of Mexico. And so it will pull a tremendous amount of moisture up off the Gulf of Mexico up across the southern states. So Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida all stand to receive a good bit of Gulf moisture from what's left of Beryl Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. Real Town. Yeah, I think you will eventually. Real Town asking the question, are we going to get any of this? And let's see here. There you are right there. And so the answer to that question is, why aren't you showing up? Oh, there you are. I was a little too far north. There's Real Town. Yes, you will eventually. You'll see this stuff over here around Clanton, northern Autauga County. That's going to sweep off to the east. And I would expect there will be some storms that'll pop up between here and there that'll move across Real Town as well. So It may be a minute before you see any of this in real time, but I think eventually you will. Standing Rock. Yeah, you're going to get it a lot quicker than real town. But yeah, your stuff is still back over toward Wadley and Daviston. So it's still going to be a minute before you get anything either. Franklin should be getting hammered right now. Maybe you could throw a rock from downtown Franklin and hit the edge of where the heavy rainfall is. I mean, it's that close. There's Franklin. The heavy rain. Y'all know where Patterson Drive is? Patterson Drive, just north and west of Franklin's, where the heavy rain's at. State Route 34, you know where 34 comes in right there at Franklin. If you take a left on 100 and throw a rock about 20 yards, that's where the heavy rain is. If you're in downtown Franklin or on the east side of Franklin, it hadn't quite got to you yet. Redland Road. Up there on 100 at Redland Road, you got heavy rainfall occurring. Roanoke. Roanoke, you're going to get some rain. It's still back over toward Wadley, but it's slowly creeping out Highway 22, so it eventually will move right across the city of Roanoke. Hatchie, yes, you should be in the clear up there. You're welcome, Lindy. Judy says, heavy rainfall at Morrison's Crossroads. Bobby, I'm not expecting tornadic weather. None of these storms are severe. They're just below severe limits. I mean, all it takes, though, is a pine tree to cause a problem with the mobile home, so... Yeah, I think you'll get some rain in Pennham before the afternoon's over with. I know you guys have a big fireworks show down there tonight. It's going to be close. Amy East says it's raining pretty hard in Woodland, Alabama. You're welcome, Bobby. New special weather statement just issued from Atlanta. This is going to be for Carroll County. Strong thunderstorm will impact portions of southwestern Carroll and northwestern Heard through 3:15. At 2:37 p.m., a strong thunderstorm is over Bowden, or 9 miles west of Carrollton, moving east at 10 miles per hour. Hazard with this is 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning, and very heavy rainfall. And that's the story with all of these storms this afternoon. They're moving slow. And the rainfall output, the column is completely saturated this afternoon, so the volume of water output from these storms is much higher than it typically is. It's tropical in nature, so it's like standing under a huge fire hose. You can't really... It's not safe to operate an automobile in this. So if you're going to be traveling into the areas where we're showing the darkest reds on the radar, you might want to rethink that. It's just not safe to drive in this type of thunderstorm activity because of the amount of water that's falling from these storms. So now Kim has some rain. Hallelujah. See if you can shoo some of it up to the northeast, up to the northeast Georgia mountains. We need it up here bad. My koi fish in my pond are packing their bags. That's how bad it is up here. Susan says she's thankful for the rain in Swag, Alabama. Mark Knight, 3¼ inch in rain gauge, and it's still raining at Upper Omaha. So how about that? Mark's got 3¼ inches of rain already out of that one thunderstorm cell that stretches from eastern Heard County back into central Randolph. Be that cell right there. He has picked up 3¼ inches of rain from this area. That's a tremendous amount of water. But you know, it's not uncommon to get 2 to 4 inches of rain out of one thunderstorm here in the southeast. We get more rain out of one thunderstorm than Las Vegas, Nevada gets an entire year, by far. Hobson Community. Thank you, Martha. Yeah, Angie, I did. As a matter of fact, this is my third season with the pond, and I've always had just water snakes, you know, relatively small. Those are feisty little creatures, but they're not poisonous, and I'll always catch them and release them. We got a copperhead in there last week. And he was bigger than even I thought he was. You know, things don't look, the water is deceiving. When things are underwater, they're actually a different size than they look from the top of the water. And I've got a snake catcher, so I caught him and only caught him. He only had about a ½ inch left of his tail there where I finally caught him, and I pulled him up out of the water, and he just kept coming out of the water. This joker was about 4 foot long, copperhead. And my snake catcher's not but about 5 foot long. And I was about to drop him because I only barely had him there at the tail end. And so I was in a little bit of a predicament there. That was kind of sketchy. But I did get him out of the pond. And I have not had any more in there since. I mean, they'll come back. I'm okay as long as it's just water snakes. Copperhead, I got a problem with. Thank goodness we don't have moccasins up here. It's just too cold in the wintertime for moccasins. Two main things we have to worry about are copperheads and rattlesnakes, and we got a lot of both. Yeah, Kelly, I know. I'm glad y'all are getting it. I need y'all to wish a little bit of it up this way. We got a little bit yesterday, but I mean, maybe it rained at my house for 10 minutes. Maybe 10 minutes. It just didn't last long enough. And I'll put this in motion for you one more time, show you. The general motion on this is to the northeast. The individual storms moving to the northeast. The front that's causing all this is very slowly sinking to the south. Reading the weather discussion this morning from the Weather Service over at Birmingham, they expect this front to stall out somewhere south of I-85 and then tomorrow start moving back to the north. I hope that it's not in the process of stalling where it's at. If it is, then this entire area across East Alabama and West Georgia could be in the rain for the rest of the day and tonight, which, you know, other than the folks in Pennon who want to do their fireworks show tonight, wouldn't be a bad thing. But you don't need 3-inch per hour rains to continue all night long. That would cause mass flooding. So I'm hopeful this front still moving, and it will eventually push all of this a little bit further to the south. Thanks, Kelly. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Well, we don't have any severe weather. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's July 3rd, part 3. And we're having a big fireworks show tonight up here in Cleveland, Georgia. And I've got to go play public safety with those folks for tonight's show in Cleveland. Had a few hours of downtime this afternoon, so I thought I'd jump in and hang out with you guys. I like to do that every chance I get and kind of show you what's going on out there. And so we're going to shut this down. Of course, if anything severe were to pop up, we'll come right back and continue with our coverage as we always do. But be careful. If you're going to be out there driving around, if you're anywhere along the Talladega-Clay County line there, lots of heavy rainfall continues, stretching all the way down into northwest Coosa and into Chilton. Also just north of Kellyton, back over into northwestern Tallapoosa County, some heavy rain. Things look a little better in Clay County now, but you've got that line that's over in Talladega that's going to sweep through Clay as well. And then Randolph, just about everywhere in Randolph County except for Roanoke, has rain falling at the moment. Some of it very heavy in some locations. And then in Heard County from Franklin all the way up through Carrollton, all the way up to I-20, very heavy rainfall in Heard and Carroll County. And then back toward Atlanta, right there along I-20, Douglasville, Villa Rica, Six Flags, heavy rainfall there along I-20. No doubt I-20 will be a complete disaster just outside of Atlanta as that rain continues to move in that particular direction. Best idea, you don't get out and drive in this stuff if you absolutely don't have to. Flash flooding, localized flash flooding is certainly possible if you're under one of these heavy thunderstorms where you see the darkest red. Absolutely, that could happen. So, Barbara, we're not looking at anything severe. We're not looking at tornadoes or anything like that. Just a lot of thunder and lightning, heavy rainfall, and maybe some gusty winds from time to time. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon. If things were to change and we were to see life-threatening weather, then I certainly will be right back with you here on Dr. Don's Weather. If not, I'll see you back in here first thing tomorrow morning for your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's Weather. Happy 4th of July, folks. Hope you continue to enjoy your long 4-day holiday weekend.